Okay, hey, we are live and welcome to Path to Mastery podcast. And today we have a special treat. We are with Mrs. Megan DiMartino. And man, what's up, Megan? How are you today?
I am blessed to be here. And, I said to you earlier when we were in the green room, I got the memo to wear the blue. So I'm so pleased that we're in synchronicity. Very
Yes.
excited to be with you.
Blue is my favorite color. You see my water bottle's blue. You see the wall behind me is blue. You see the shirt is blue.
And
you
I
see
have
my iPhone is blue. And you have the blue sweater. We are connected here.
We are.
This is awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here today. I know we've been trying to do this for a while. And today we're going to talk about helping people move forward in times of, man, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. Right? There's a lot of uncertainty out there right now in the world. So that's the conversation we're going to have. But before we go there, I just want to tell you a little bit about Megan, and I'll let her fill in some gaps as well. She is the Megan DiMartino Creative Business Solutions LLC, Hope and Possibilities just over the horizon. And she also does the Unique Leaders Live podcast. She is a sales and marketing business consultant, keynote speaker, and best-selling author, Megan DiMartino. And she started, scaled, and sold 2 award-winning 7-figure businesses. She launched 2 successful skincare brands. I can't even say that word. Glycolic. Thank you. And Novita Spa Clinicals and the award-winning Novita Spa and Medical Rejuvenation Clinic. On January 4, 2002, her book, Hope and Possibilities Just Over the Horizon, went to #1 on Amazon. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. I did not know that about you. Awesome. And you got so much awesome stuff here, more, but I'm not going to just read through your whole bio and just butcher it. Why don't you just give us a quick intro, tell us who you are, and why should our people be listening to you about this important topic?
Well, first and foremost, David, I am a New York girl deep in the heart of Texas. And I would say that one of the reasons they should be listening to you and I is that we are overcomers. We have, I am your senior member here, but the point of that.
Are you sure? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I'll fill that in a minute. But why I share that here is that I have been through so many downturns and so many changes and evolutions of our world since I was an adult many moons ago. And it's really about understanding who you are and staying focused on that and not being pulled into the narrative, the rhetoric, because most of it is conjecture. It's not necessarily fact. And so you stay in your own lane and continue on. But the most critical piece to that statement is to know what your lane is. So I'm here to help you really focus on that clarity to understand how you can navigate with courage and confidence through times like this.
So we'll start right at the lane. You said, you're here to help people know what their lane is. So what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that today there are so many options, and with options, a confused mind says no. And so if you really are not clear, then you're going to waffle from one thing to the next and never start. I had the great benefit on some level when I started my first business in 1992, 30 years ago, kids, 30 years ago, my first skincare brand, Glycolic, which David, was trying to say there. But basically, I was a pioneer in glycolic acid, alpha hydroxy fruit acids, the first really result-oriented skincare ingredient that set what we know from a medical spa position today off. And so, but the key to that is there was no Dr. Google to go and get information. There were no websites. There were no YouTubes. There was nothing. So how did I do that? I basically had a background in the salon industry in national sales and marketing, and I saw that the nail industry was beginning to evolve. I'm talking about acrylic nails, because before the 80s, there was no such thing as acrylic nails. And you see an Asian nail salon, or it could be not an Asian salon, but a nail salon in every town, and probably 3 to 5 in every town. How did that start? Why did that start? Basically because women were going into the workforce in unprecedented numbers, and they wanted a very uniform, tidy, but attractive appearance. Well, that's great. But what happened was all of the original nail companies, like Creative Nail, OPI, that everyone knows of, the cool nail polishes, they all came from the dental industry, all. So because acrylic nails were powder and acrylic for bonding teeth. So it started from someplace. But if they didn't have that foundation, I'm talking about Creative Nail, OPI, they would never have started. Now, the nail phenomenon that we know today was based on that niche, that population coming into the United States and seeing that opportunity. And it just grew from one to the next. Well, I was part and parcel of that, David. I worked for a paper company in the 80s, and my boss said, okay, figure out what we should add. Paper, hello. They were the largest manufacturer of end wraps. Well, perms were very big in the 80s. So, it was a big business, and they did dental and medical laboratory paper-related products as well. So my job was to do the R&D, figure it out, and then put it together and bring it to market, and then sell the dang thing. Well, I put together a non-woven towel, paper, had to be paper, that then I turned around and sold to these nail companies. Now, I share that because during that season, I said to myself, because I was in my mid-30s at this point, and I said, I'm looking for skincare products that did something, but there was nothing on the market, nothing. So when I was recruited by Alcon Laboratories, which is in Fort Worth, and that's what brought me to Fort Worth, because they had purchased a hair care lab, a lab that manufactured serious hair care products like Rogaine and Oxen, and they wanted to repackage and reposition this line. So they recruited me. I moved to Texas. And so I was able to hang out with very sophisticated chemists because, again, there was no Dr. Google, there was no YouTube channels, there was nothing. But I studied and then went to the chemist and said, tell me about such and such ingredient. And they taught me a lot about how to put products together. So I share that story because, again, there was limitations with that. You folks, and including me, have
let me ask you something though. Yeah. So before we jump any further, so what you're talking about is foundation. Is in my listening is we have to be super clear on what our foundation is.
Yes.
And then in order to be certain, in order to help people in times like, is that accurate? Like we got to be super clear on what it is we do first and foremost.
The principles are always, yes. We have to be clear, David. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No. So I'd like to continue because what we're talking about is in times of uncertainty, you said this, or you said a version of this. You said many people, there's going to be so many options, they're not going to do anything, right?
Yes.
Or they're not going to know what to. So, and that's uncertainty.
Correct.
And something else we say, or I got it from Grant, is in the presence of uncertainty, people will not do anything.
Saying the same thing.
Exactly. They'll take no action. So how do people listening right now in such times of, and here's the reality. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being reality.
Exactly.
Reality is gas prices have more than doubled. Groceries are going up all the time. Stocks are, trust me, I got Ethereum, I got XRP, I got everything is worth less than 25% of what it was, right? People, inventory's low in real estate space. How do people stay certain during all these times?
The principles really remain the same. If you go back to Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, one of the reasons I really enjoy listening to that when I'm driving, I listen to him every day. Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, because he wrote that during the Depression. Now, that you talk about uncertain times, that was truly uncertain times. If you compare today to then, we have a gold mine of opportunity. So we, it really, the principles, David, go back, they never change, really. That burning desire, as he speaks about, you have to then have faith. If you take his principles, they really stay the same. And so you have to go back to and really go within. I'm sure you've heard this in your sales trainings. What do you want? People say, oh, I don't know. What do you really want? It's in that third, what do you really, really want? They then go within and say, I'm not sure. And so so what I help people do is to go within and really discover that, what do you really want? Now, it's like that still, quiet, small voice. It may be such a birthing of something, but it's helping to really go within and think, because it really doesn't matter if the gas prices go up or the stock prices go down and all of that, because, and many people listening to us now, because they have gone through, let's say, the downturn in the late 2000s, and they lived, they didn't die, so many different companies were birthed during that season through needs, because those will be revealed. But you have to start. And you cannot, and as Napoleon Hill and myself and you and everyone that are thought leaders speak about, a positive mental attitude. You have to work every day in every way to stay in a positive mental attitude.
PMA, I think that's what they used to refer to it as,
yes.
Right? PMA. So, I didn't know that as much as I've probably read Think and Grow Rich, I don't know, half dozen times throughout my life, listened to it. I didn't know it was, for whatever reason, I missed that it was written during the Depression. Which
he worked in FDR's. He worked in FDR's cabinet, I guess, or assistant to somebody, and he got paid nothing to be there, nothing. And he took that time to write Think and Grow Rich, along with many other books, which were maybe published, but didn't do what that obviously did. Yeah, it was during the Depression.
Yeah, I did not know that. So let me ask you this, because, something you said, like I've been, I've been in sales 36 years. I've been in real estate 20 years. November will be 20 years. So I've been through a few ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
I know what to expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been through it. I've done it a couple of times. Both times we came out, we took actions and we made changes to things we were doing that helped us grow and come out better. But what about the people who haven't gone through it before, which is a big, big part of our population, a part of the sales force, a part of real estate? What do you say to those people that haven't gone through it?
They are really blessed, because they have the skill set of electronics that I certainly did not. Everything I do, including, trying to find the clubhouse room, which I want to stay present with you and our guests listening, whether they're on Clubhouse or not. But these folks, the ones that haven't been through it, David, they have the skill set. But again, that same principle of that burning desire. What do you want to do? And you have to really go within, and the tools, you've got the tools. You have them. You just have to gain clarity, courage, confidence, and then commitment. Commitment is so key, because without commitment, you will waffle and vacillate. That beginning is that, clarity piece. But then that commitment is truly, because this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. I'm continuing to build and develop a new project. Do I need to do that? No. But do I want to do it? Yes, because it stays with my passion, which is creative, and purpose, which is helping others.
Yeah. And you said it earlier. The reality is, it's going to be tough unfortunately, the reality is going to be tough for a lot of people, because they're not going to take the right actions to help. And so, but at the other side of that is going to be a huge opportunity for a lot of people And the people that are listening to this right now, that are sitting here listening, that are in our clubhouse room right now, those are the people that want this, and they're willing to make changes and take advantage of the opportunity. We can look at this through two lenses. You could look, oh my gosh, the world is falling apart, or you can say, wow, how do I help? How do I serve at a greater level? How do I change? I hate to use the word pivot. It's so like overrated, but how do I pivot over adapt? Right. That's what we should be thinking. Like, what do I need to do to pivot right now? I want to open it up to in a minute. I'm going to let you respond, and I'm going to open up to some of our friends in Clubhouse. So if anybody has any questions, just give me a mic flash. So yeah, Megan, I'll back to you.
Well, like you said, Chicken Little, the sky is falling. I remember reading that to my kids. But, I don't like the word pivot either, because to me, it's like a jarring turn. I look at it, honestly, as evolution. My title is CEO, but I call it, if you look at my bios and business cards, things like that, I call myself the Chief Evolve Officer, because everything is always evolving, whether it's feast or famine, whether it's the fabulous times of low interest rates and so forth, or, oh my God, look at what has happened in the last 2 months. We're all evolving. I mean, I could bore you all with stories of things that have happened to me in my life. Starting businesses so undercapitalized, being a woman, banks not loaning. I mean, it was just, I had been a successful a career person, but starting my own business, I was so ill prepared, and there was so the tools to help me were so limited, but I continued to figure it out. I factored invoices. I just continued on. So you evolve, but then during different stages, I should say, of my business evolution, I tried to stay, David, in front of what was happening. Just watching, not so much negative things happening like today, so to speak, but just growing the business where it had opportunities to evolve in different directions. You have to be very fluid. Flow is so important.
It is massively important. Hey, we'd love to get you in the Clubhouse room if you can come in, and all these people in here could follow you too. I am going to pop it over to Clubhouse now, though, to see if anybody on stage has a question for Megan. You just give me a mic flash if you want to ask a question, and we'll get you in. You'll be on Path to Mastery podcast, my friends, going live here. So anybody have a question? All right. Well, it looks like nobody in Clubhouse is wanting to ask any questions. If you're not on the stage, feel free to raise your hand. We'll bring you up. Somebody did ask your name, which is Megan DiMartino. I think, Megan, if you're able to figure out how to pop in, try to pop in.
Okay, I'm trying.
I did send you an invite. All right. So that said, though, and why I'm looking down is I just take a lot of notes, Megan, doing these episodes so that I don't forget things. So that's why I'm looking down sometimes because I'm making notes. But I'm actually, I've done 280. I've done more than that, but we have 280 episodes released now. So I've done a few of these things. I've gotten better at like when you said to me, "Are you listening to me?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And I'm actually doing this thing on Clubhouse at the same time. So kind of funny.
Multitasker.
Well, I don't think so. I think it's task switching. That's what they call it. Because you can't do two things at the same time.
No, that's I like that. That's part. Yeah, that's very
conversation.
Love that. Because, that's staying present and paying attention and that evolving, that flow. That's really very good. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any questions. So let me ask you this then. What would you say? Before we get there, tell us, I know you have a new program coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Tell us about your program, and then how do people get involved in that if they're interested?
Well, basically, again, as I shared, I've been in business for a long time and building businesses, and I'm going to say the same thing really again, but basically it is about having systems in place. You have to have clarity of what you're doing, or you will not start. We hear start, scale, sustain. And so when I sold an asset purchase of my luxury day clinical and medical spa in June of 20, I did not sell the trade name Novitas Spa, which is federally trademarked. I didn't sell the URL, novitasspa.com. I didn't sell the product line, Novitas Spa Clinicals, but I sold the asset purchase, which was basically enabling me to lighten that load that I was carrying. And so that 5,000-pound gorilla, as I call it. And so after that, David and our guests, I started working on, and during the lockdown, I started Unique Leaders podcast, and have always done lives and things of that nature. I mean, you go to YouTube, it's full of different trainings and different interviews and things like that. So I've been doing that for a long time. But when I sold the business, and I consulted for about 6 months, and then 21 came, and then Clubhouse came, and I started working with Sharon Lechter because I felt that I needed, even though I had been in business many, many years, I felt I needed that, again, clarity and that coach. And so I started working with Sharon Lechter. And she's an amazing woman, and she's a wonderful person. And, Robert Kawasaki, and she did that amazing, what's the name of the
Cash
book?
Flow Quadrant? Is that
No, that's part of it, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Because my brain went to Think and Grow Rich, because she's been involved now with the Napoleon Hill Foundation for years. But anyway, I hired Sharon as a mentor. And during that season, we uncovered that I have so much to help. I mean, I've been helping, I've been training, I've been mentoring teams for years, but they were my employees, and also consulting with salons and spas. So to take this information and help others. So I put together what is called Propel Your Business and Life, because I'm into personal and business development consulting. Okay. And so I put together the Propel program to, propel your business and life with my 5 C's: clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and compassion, to start and scale your business. And so it's the program is on my MeganDiMartino.com in pre-sale. Excuse me, David. Here are my stem cells.
Federal Express.
Here's my stem cells.
All right. So Megan is, she told me before we started recording, she may get a Federal Express delivery during our podcast. So Theodore, do you have you want to ask a question, or anybody have a question? Just raise your hand for Megan. If you guys want to ask anything about confidence, she's got a lot of wisdom. She's been in this space a long time. She's sold multiple 7-figure businesses. Somebody definitely want to listen to. When you can pick people's brains like that, take advantage of it. Just you can ask a question. There's no stupid questions. That's the reality. If anybody's asking stupid questions, it's always me. So
I'm back.
Yeah. Well, I don't really have a question. I'm listening, but it's very, very interesting. I just listened to Megan, and I'm brainstorming ideas and possibility for my business while I'm listening to her. So she's definitely very motivational in that way. So no question at the moment, just listening and learning from her.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Theodora, for being here and supporting Megan and I. And you can check, how do people get information on your product, your Propel? What is it? Propel and Scale?
It's on MeganDiMartino.com.
Okay.
And so I try to keep things simple, and it's on the homepage, and it's a link, and it's right there. It's called Propel Program.
Propel Program. Okay. So Megan DiMartino, which is DiMartino, like Tini with an O at the end instead of an I, right?
Al Martino, right?
Yes. Awesome. Okay. Let me ask you this, and we're gonna kind of start wrapping up. For people listening, like, give us, like, you've been doing this for a while, right? I mean, you have wisdom. You got more wisdom than I do. Well, I just believe that. I mean, the older we get, you're older than I am, right? My grandmother passed at 100. She just turned 100, and she broke her hip. She just had a lot of wisdom. I'd spend time with her, and she'd share things, and so anyway, that was something I learned when I was younger. So what would you say, like, for two things for people listening that want to improve confidence? What would be the 2 tips you would give them? Anybody listening to this right now?
Confidence comes from courage, because you just said, I'm older than you and probably most folks here. So during,
well, you're also successful though, so there is some point truth in that too.
Sure. But that's come from consistency of staying with my vision mission. It really stays with all of this is so key, guys, to understand. But as I said, confidence comes from courage, and courage is built from experience. Because I'm a single parent. I've been a single parent of really most of my daughter's lives. I've built these businesses during that time. I've been through so many different things. I don't talk about all that really, except that I want people to understand that things do happen. And when you're in the midst of that, I'm just going to share this one little piece. My husband passed in 2011, but he had a very short illness, which was Lewy bodies, which is a Parkinson's form of dementia. And he became really a mess very quickly. But I was in the middle of building. I mean, I had a business, and here I'm dealing with his situation. And so here was this, I was kind of in a tsunami holding on the trees. So, but what I will say about that, guys, is that during that was really not for Paul. No, it was a horrible experience. But on the other side of the coin, going through that, I learned so much about myself. But that, in the scheme of things, that wasn't that long ago. But I learned so much about that, about me, and about what we're talking about, that it's incumbent upon me to share it with you guys. And that's really the essence of this Propel program, because you have to know, but you build confidence through courage. And courage is really just, and so many people have courage and they don't even understand that they do. Because they've weathered, like you, David, you've gone through so many things, and you've been on Unique Leaders. I know your story. You share it on Clubhouse, in small pieces. But the bottom line of that is that you had courage to continue on. You didn't stop. Once you became sober, so to speak, gave your heart to the Lord and did that. And then it wasn't easy, I am sure. And it was step by step by step. That took courage. But you look back on that, and that courage that you built your confidence to weather the different storms that you've gone through, such as downturn in 2007, 8, 9, in real estate and different things. So courage is built. Confidence rather is built through courage, and courage is built through experience. And we all are in life together. And so we're all doing this together.
I love it. Really, really strong. Earlier today, in the Breakfast with Champions, I had asked everybody to write down a question, and it was, who do I need to become? And I would, I've challenged you right now, if you're listening to this, I would write that down and really ponder it and play with it and think about it and spend time with it. Like, who do I need to become to ... So it could be, who do I need to become to be a more confident person? Who do I need to become to grow my business to whatever? Who do I need to become to speak on Clubhouse? Whatever, right? There's so many things, right? So, but you had made a really great comment about that earlier. Do you want to share that, what you had said?
Absolutely. I did a post a couple of days ago, and basically I said in that post that everything we need is within us. we all second guess. Do we need to take another course? Do we need to? Yes, we all need coaches. I just mentioned, after almost 30 years of business, I hired Sharon Lecter for a period of time. And now I'm in she and her husband, Michael Lecter's last mastermind. So we all need coaches. So don't misunderstand this statement. But I mean, reading is fundamental, as they say. We absolutely glean information and grow from other people. We need to get outside ourselves. But that information coming to us is only enforcing what you know already within you. God created you as a unique snowflake. We are all unique. We all have the tools that we need. We just have to really uncover those and take the years or days or months of confusion and disappointments and sadness and take that off and go within and stay there and then continue on. Because no matter what, how did I withstand that period of time with Paul? Because I'm leaving a bunch of stuff out of that. But how did I really weather that? It was, again, the tools that I had built previous, and then that helped going forward with the next phase of my life. And that, by the way, is why the title of the book is called Hope and Possibilities Just Over the Horizon. It's never too early or too late to create the life of your dreams. It's never. I had staff, most of my staff were millennials, and they would say, I'm only 25. I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, please, you're just beginning. So it's never too early or too late. We are our own worst enemy. So we've got to get out of our own way, go within, have a coach, help a consultant like myself, like you, David, in your field, and help you to uncover that genius, that magnificent project waiting to be birthed. So it's within us all.
Awesome, Megan. Well, first off, I'm sorry for your loss. Sorry to hear about that. And I can only imagine. Obviously, you've come out a stronger human being on the other side. So congratulations on that. And what would you say to? It's gonna be an interesting question I'm asking because I have questions in my head, and I'm like, oh, if I think it's a question, I should just ask it. But what do you think? Like, if somebody's feels like they already know it all, what would you say to a know-it-all person? Because I'm kind of a know-it-all in certain areas. I think we all are in certain areas, right? What do you say to that person?
Well, one of the reasons I believe that, as you've heard, we have all heard this statement, and it's true. And someone said it this morning. I don't know if it was in your room, but it's not what happens to you. It's what It's not what happens to you. It's what you do about it. But also, things happen to you to give you the tools, like we're talking about. And I believe firmly that. And this is just from experience, that things happen to us to help us. And so the know-it-all is going to have something happen that is, and it might not be dramatic, but there's going to be something that gives that person an opportunity to take a pause and reflect and go within and say, what's going on here? So I really do believe they're gifts. They're not, they're for us, not against us. And these times, guys, honestly, I mean it. I mean, I remember the oil embargo. You talk $6 a gallon. Well, how about going to the pump and having no gas? No gas. And so, there are times there. So again, I use that as an example because, and then there were, gas days. You had to go on the odd day and the even day and so forth. Well, we lived through that. And an experience of it. And so, as they say, things will continue to happen if we don't make changes. But I really do, for the know-it-all, David, it's really gifts that come to you, that help you. And you mentioned Grant Cardone earlier, and he shares a lot about that, meaning that his experiences in life, including the downturn in 2007-8, helped he and Elena to craft what they're doing today. And that came from that negative time. And even so, I said earlier about preparing to stay in front of it. That's what he really says when he created his real estate and what he's doing today in real estate.
All right, Megan. Well, it's been a pleasure. Again, if you want to just let everybody know one last time how the best way to get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your training, your education, they want to learn more about, get a copy of your book. Just what's the best way to connect with Megan DiMartino?
Well, it's if you want to spend money and buy it on Amazon, you can. But during the lockdown, I decided I was going to put it on my website. I'm talking about Hope and Possibilities. And I put it on megandimartino.com. Then about a year ago, I did an audiobook, and I decided, I don't remember what occasion it was, maybe Christmas. I put it up there at no charge. And so it's my gift to you guys, my story. And so that is there at megandimartino.com. I do have a clubhouse room on Tuesday evenings. We're not doing it tonight because the stem cells came, and I have some patients, and Anthony Hart is my co-mod, but he's more than that. We are doing it together. It's called Hope and Possibilities. It's under the room. The room is the Heart link. It's under the room, Hope and Possibilities. But go to my website and give information. We'll put you in our database. And it's also linked to novitasspa.com, where there's a shopping cart. You can buy a discovery kit for the facial essentials. Those are there as well. But I would say the best place to go, and you can also go to my Instagram, and I have a link tree, and all of this is there easily to access. So there's and that is official Megan DiMartino, my Instagram. So that's easy. So my bio and Clubhouse leads to Instagram, which leads to the link tree, which leads to megandimartino.com.
Megan, this is the first time anybody has ever had stem cells delivered during my podcast episode.
I think we need to expound upon that because, again, I didn't even share about my wellness clinic.
Yeah, you know what? I opened the door for that. I mean,
No,
yeah. Well, I mean, what are you doing having stem cells delivered during our podcast?
That's my fountain of youth, David. Hello. To make a very long story short, I've been, as I said, I had a luxury day clinical medical wellness spa. When I sold the asset purchase, I'm an affiliate of R3 Stem Cell, Dr. David Green, and I never stopped doing stem cells. But this is an important point for your listeners. So here I took the 5,000-pound gorilla off my shoulders. I've been using someone else's clinic. It's very restricted. That's why it's Tuesday night, because that I can only use it Tuesday nights. So I have 2 patients coming tonight, hence the stem cells. They're overnighted. They're in cryo. They're, because they have to stay frozen. But by July 1st, I'm opening the new Novita Regenerative and Wellness Boutique. And I've shrunk the model to change the model. That's why I call Evolve Officer. But because during this last 2 years, I didn't advertise 1 second about doing stem cells. People would call the business number and say, I'd like to set up an appointment. And these are people that word of mouth or had it previously. So I decided, you know what? It's time to find a smaller space and go forward. So evolve again. So Novita Regenerative and Wellness Boutique will be opening with vitamin infusions, with infrared saunas, that whole dynamic, which I did in the previous, but the day spa part is not going to be there. But medical aesthetics, yes, for sure.
Good stuff. Well, Hey, appreciate you, and you're up to a lot, and that's super cool. And I didn't realize you were up to as much as you were. So this is cool. And, congrats on having Sharon for a coach. I did not realize that about you either. And so cool. Very good stuff going on. So I'm excited to learn more. And we have an event coming up in October. So I'll get you more details on that as well in the Boston area. If you're in the area, we'd love to have you come by. So that said, well, one final question. I ask everybody the same question at the end, and I don't send it ahead of time because I want people to just think and answer off the cuff. Is what does Path to Mastery mean to you?
I love it. Well, the path is that step. Take that first step and continue on. Take that first step, and the second and third step will be revealed to you. But you must start. You must start. If you don't start, guess what? It will never happen. As Ben Franklin said, if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. So it is that path. Take that first step, go on that path. And mastery is not the destination, it's the journey. It is truly learning and growing and evolving and sharing with everyone you touch, whether they're working for you or like your clients, David. It is everyone that you work with. It's incumbent upon us to share what God has given to us. So that is the path to mastery.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap it up now, and it's been an honor. And yeah, look forward to just learning more about what you're up to. You're up to so many cool things. This is awesome. So
great.
Appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Thanks so much, David. And do share that I was the first and maybe the last on your podcast that had stem cells delivered.
Yeah, the odds of that happening again are probably low. So, but who knows?
Yes.
Well, you never know these days. So,
amen.